Hello, this is Don Shum, and I want to welcome you to the final installment of the first season of the Oticon podcast program. In this installment, we're going to wrap up our discussion of the brain and hearing loss and cognitive processing by talking about the very best signal processor that we have available, and that's the human brain. I'll start this discussion by asking the question, what do patients with hearing difficulties who are seeking out assistance from the hearing care professional really looking for? Well, at Oticon, we fundamentally believe that what they are looking for is the ability to participate in everyday life like a person who has normal hearing. They simply don't want their hearing to hold them back from the ability to take part and enjoy in the broad range of activities that make up a daily modern life. It is important to recognize that most adults with hearing loss had normal hearing at one point in their life. And although the typical age-related hearing loss may come on slowly over a number of years, and the fact that we know that most patients who are older will wait a certain amount of time before they take action on their hearing loss, they probably still have some memory of what normal hearing was like. Or at least they remember that it wasn't so hard to operate with the hearing that they had. They are also surrounded by people throughout their daily life who probably do have normal hearing and who can operate at a certain level of efficiency in more complex and challenging sound environments. So the patients with hearing loss have plenty of evidence that their ability is very different from the ability of someone who is fortunate enough to still have normal hearing. So when they feel like they're struggling to be a listener in a complex or challenging environment, they're basing that off of a comparison that they have either from earlier in their life or from those people who they surround themselves with. They are receiving constant reminders that their hearing is just not allowing them to perform and participate like their friends and families and coworkers can. The typical layperson, whether it be the person who has the hearing difficulty or perhaps friends and family members of that person, will oftentimes assume that it's a pretty simple solution to get hearing aids to solve the listening difficulties. Hearing care professionals, of course, understand that it's not that simple and that the nature of the disorder that we treat, sensorineural hearing loss, is such that simply amplifying sound is not a guarantee that the person's going to hear and understand well. Improvements are being made all the time in signal processing to help patients with hearing impairment perform better, especially in complex and challenging situations. But everybody involved in the field of audiology understands that there's still work to be done. It's as simple as that. At Oticon, we have a very specific viewpoint. In order to create the very best solutions for patients with hearing impairment, we have to start by assuming that we have a very good signal processor to work with. And like I said, that's the human brain. The human brain serves as the gold standard of processors. As you saw in some of the activities I had you do in previous podcasts, the human brain has a great capability to take in a tremendous amount of information and organize it for the person and let them attend to that part of the information that they're most interested in and suppress the rest. This ability is totally dependent on getting good information to the brain. But as long as the brain can get good information, it can do a tremendous amount of organizing and sorting and interpretation and creation of meaning so that the patient can get information from the speech signal as they intended. When we go about creating solutions for the patient with hearing loss, we assume that we have a very effective cognitive processor available, and our goal, as stated in our brain hearing approach, is to try to feed that very effective signal processor the very best information we possibly can. But there is danger out there.
Dun dun dun.
The human brain is under attack.
Dun dun dun.
This magnificent part of the human body that allows us to operate so effectively in those fun, entertaining, complex listening environments that we like to spend so much time in is facing a great unseen enemy. And if you want to know what this enemy is all about, what I would do is strongly encourage you to tune in to Season 2 of the Oticon podcast program. In that season, we're going to talk about the emergence of hearing loss in the adult and how the older adult will typically react when they begin to notice changes in their ability to hear and understand other talkers. In Season 2, we'll share with you a great amount of information that we have gathered over the last decade plus about how adults react when they are facing the prospect of having to do something about the hearing impairment. And in recent years, we've learned that the price of not taking action may be more severe than we ever used to think. So I want to thank you for your time. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me. My email is d.shum@oticon.com. Again, thank you for your time.